Hey, we are live with the I have no idea why I'm doing this Rizin sixth round post fight show. This is Zane Simon for Bloody Elbow. I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of the Rizin Grand Prix Day One in case you missed it. For all of you poor souls who might have missed it, because this show has been fantastic and it just ended, and man, that was a ton of fun. The evening just ended on a down note, admittedly. Kazushi Sakuraba, Shinya Aoki. There was only one way that fight could go, with Sakuraba getting pounded into the mat for minutes on end while the ref watched, and everybody just waited for it to for it to be over. And that was terrible and brutal, and it's over, and thank God ended as quickly as it could. But that, we should put that behind us for what was otherwise a really fun card. The 8-man 2-day tournament, the light heavyweight Grand Prix, went perfectly for Rizin. Valentin Moldavsky got a first round finish over Yuta Uchida. Um, and it King Mo beat Brett McDermott. Theodoros Oxtuolis beat Bruno Capoloza. Goran Reljic or Vadim Nemkov beat Goran Reljic, and Yuri Prochazka beat Satoshi Ishii. And that is just, I think, the best possible result that Rizin could have got. Prochazka and Nemkov are really exciting top young talents. Theodoros Oxtuolis really looks, he's a aggressive, super aggressive, powerful young fighter too. And then King Mo is the big interesting name. Obviously, Ishii was the name on the other side of it, but Ishii's never been an exciting fighter, never been a captivating fighter in the ring at all. Not in the way Mo is, not in the way that any of the other winners of the tournament were, or on the tournament bracket were. So we will be getting Prochazka versus Nemkov is a great second round fight there, and Oxdualis versus Lawal is a great second round fight. I'm expecting Lawal and Prochazka to come out of that in the end, and I would put money on Prochazka to win that. He looks like a super legit talent. I think he has the athleticism and the natural ability to be a top 5 potential fighter somewhere down the future at light heavyweight. Just amazing athlete. Somebody that absolutely should be in the UFC plying his trade right now. So he just put an absolute beating on Ishii, just knocked him cold a minute and a half into the first round. So gorgeous, gorgeous work from him. For moving up from the bottom, fight card started out with Yoshi Kosaka and James Thompson, and man, that was so set up to be a tragedy. Just like a absolutely brutal, horrible slog of a fight. But Thompson losing it, and nothing against Thompson. He seems like an awesome dude. Like he, seems like a fun writer. He seems like a fun guy in general. All respect to him for taking this on short notice, but something about watching James Thompson get knocked out is just really enjoyable. He's so huge, and when he tumbles, he just topples. It's like watching a statue crumble, and watching him slowly get broken down and lose to a 46-year-old Tsuyoshi Kosaka, that was kind of amazing. Not great, but kind of amazing. Then Baby Fedor, Kirill Sadelnikov, had his return fight looking horribly out of shape against Carlos Toyota, and Sadelnikov knocked out Toyota in the first round. It was a mercifully short fight. Stelnikov did not look like a guy who would be fresh after a 10-minute round one. So seeing him get the knockout in the first couple of minutes really was the best way that could go. Then we got a little bit of JMA weirdness with Yuki Motoya versus Felipe Efrain. And Efrain missed weight for this fight, was 4 pounds over, and this is a pretty typical thing in the JMA scene, but because of that, he was ineligible to win, essentially. So Efrain was getting beat badly for most of the fight for the better part of the first round. Efrain was getting beat up, and then Motoya got shucked off his back. They started striking for a bit, and Efrain, he's a less aggressive striker than Motoya, but he's much technically cleaner, much more practiced Muay Thai striker. And he just landed a bomb on Motoya in exchange, knocked him out cold. And because he's under that Japanese rule set, it's a no contest now. So it's an unfortunate stain on both their records. Really sucks. I mean, and it sucks especially for foreign fighters fighting in Japan because Efrain had to travel all the way to Japan from Brazil. I'm sure he did not have the same luxury for weight cutting that a hometown fighter like Motoya had. And then, he misses weight. Young fighters miss weight. It happens a lot. And suddenly, not only is he getting fined, but he has a clear win pulled off his record. At that point, it's like, why even make the fight happen at that point? It sucks. Then after that, we got a couple of kickboxing bouts between MMA fighters and kickboxers. Akio Nishiura, Wiki, fought Kawabe Hiroya, and that was a surprisingly competitive bout through 2 rounds until it seemed like after the second round, which Wiki won, it seemed like Hiroya's corner just got in his face, just told him, like, you gotta actually kickbox in this fight. And Hiroya came out actually exchanging aggressively with combinations, and Wiki's hands down, chin up, dancing style just got him nailed over and over and over again, and he got knocked out hard in the third round, just knocked cold. So it was a fun fight. It was back and forth. Hiroya took the first, Wiki took the second, and then Hiroya came out hard in the third and knocked him out. Great action fight. And then we got Kazuyuki Miyata versus Hinata Watanabe. I believe this was set to be a mixed rules fight. So the first round was kickboxing, second round was MMA. Did not make a second round, even with only a 3-minute first round. Miyata, who is almost 40, 39, got knocked down 3 times. Fight was stopped on a 3 knockdown rule. And Watanabe just drilling him to the body over and over again with hard kicks to the liver. And then going, for head kicks and lining up shots and just absolutely destroyed him. Mercifully short fight. Pretty brutal dismantling. That brought us to Anatoly Tokov versus AJ Matthews. Tokov being one of the top welterweight or middleweight prospects out there. Has competed at welterweight a bit, fights at middleweight now. Seems like the kind of guy who might end up at middle or welterweight if he ever went off to the UFC. And Tokov he only needed about a minute. He's super aggressive, tons of power, great athlete, knocked AJ Matthews absolutely cold, put him through the ropes. Great knockout for him. That brought us to Hideo Tokoro versus Kizemon Saiga. Saiga, notable Japanese kickboxer, making the move over to MMA against a longtime vet, Hideo Tokoro. That was a fun back and forth fight. Saiga throwing bombs early. Looked like he hurt Tokoro over and over again, but just kept getting tangled up on the ground where he was no match grappling for Tokoro. And after 5 minutes of constant fighting off submissions, he eventually succumbed to an armbar. Still fun fight. Saiga had his moments. His wife was screaming like a banshee throughout the fight, so it was entertaining. Great to see Tokoro chain grappling. Fun to see Saiga in MMA. That brought us to sixth fight on the card, or actually, I guess the seventh fight on the card. I'm forgetting. Everything's a little mixed up because they're the kickboxing bouts that aren't listed. But that brought us to Hiroki Takaya, the street fighter or street fight Bancho, taking on Daiki Hata, and that started out as a slow fight. Hata wasn't willing to commit early, very movement heavy, kind of defensive. So the first 10 minutes were pretty boring. But then Hata started to really open up in the second round and hurt Takea and was doing well. And then he got clocked, absolutely just put on skates, and Hata turned it around, or Takea turned it around rather, and was winning going into the third. And then Hata came back out. DJ Taika came back out and just really put it on Takea to start the third round. Looked great again. Was doing well for long stretches, and then finally got caught hard again and beat up for the latter half of the third round to seal the fight for Takea. But that third round was pretty crazy. The middle 2 minutes of it or so were just nuts. Fantastic round, fun fight, good back and forth. Started slow, built up to a really nice, fun scrap. Then we got the first tournament bout: Valentin Moldavsky, Yuta Uchida, Combat Sambo versus Karate. Two guys with very little MMA experience whatsoever. And Moldavsky looks like a legit potential young talent, great athlete, powerful wrestler. Submitted Yuta Uchida, which with what I would call like the MMA version of a Steiner recliner, camel clutch. 2 minutes into the first round, really just a crank. Sat on him and pulled his neck back until Uchida tapped. Fun, quick fight. Then King Mo fought Brett McDermott in a weirdly one-sided fight. McDermott was clearly outclassed, just kept rushing in on Mo and getting taken down time and time again. But Mo didn't really have, I wouldn't even say he didn't have the power, but McDermott's just super tough. Mo had a lot of trouble putting him away. And so that fight just dragged on for Mo. I mean, he still finished it in the first round, but it took 9 minutes, took all the first round, and he looked exhausted by the end of it. He fought the fight in wrestling shoes, weirdly, which means I assume he couldn't kick, and I assume he's going to wear wrestling shoes for the rest of the tournament as long as he's in it. But yeah, he had a lot of trouble putting away an opponent that he had clearly outclassed, and part of that I think is because McDermott, former pro rugby player, is really obviously a very good athlete who just does not have a lot of MMA experience. Looked really raw, really green, but super athletic, super tough, and that made the fight really hard on Mo and could really be a detriment to Mo if he stays in this and goes to the second round. I would not be surprised if he had an injured hand after that fight, or if he might have some other injury. It just looks like a brutal war. Then we got Theodoros Oxtuolis taking on Bruno Capoloza. The Oxtuolis, not kind of like McDermott, not a really clean fighter. Has been in and out of MMA a lot. Also does judoka, probably karate too. He came out with kind of a Ryu from Street Fighter garb with the gi with the like torn shoulders and all that, and fought a very karateka-like fight. Lots of short, aggressive bursts of striking, but just hyper aggressive, powerful athlete, came after Capoloza over and over again, eventually caught a kick from Capoloza and just nailed him with an overhand right, knocked him absolutely cold. It's really fun, only 3.5 minutes. Then we got Vadim Nemkov versus Goran Reljic. Nemkov, another great athlete, another raw talent, World Combat Sambo champion. Looked like he was making some mistakes striking with Reljic for a lot of the fight early on. Boxing with him, he doesn't have very clean technique, but Nemkov is just such a supreme athlete that eventually he was just able to throw a straight right hand straight down the pipe that caught Reljic cold and knocked him out and hurt him, and then just finished him off with stomps and punches and soccer kicks on the ground until they stopped the fight. That brought us to Yuri Prochazka's fight with Satoshi Ishii. Ishii really had no prayer in that fight. Prochazka's just too great an athlete. Ishii couldn't bring him down. Every time they clinched up where Ishii was supposed to have the big advantage because of his judo background, Prochazka would just shuck him off, was landing hard head kicks, several of them that started to rock Ishii. And finally, he dropped Ishii with a head kick and then just started nailing him with knees to the head on the ground. Because, we're going classic pride rules. Knees to the head on the ground are fine. Knocked Ishii cold unconscious. And that brought us back up to the main event. Kazushi Sakuraba, Shinya Aoki, which, like I say, that was just kind of a shit show. Sad fight. Glad it ended reasonably quickly. Not quickly enough, but it capped off a fast-paced, fun card, a much better than advertised card. If people were expecting just a complete circus, there was some circus bouts, but the core of this card, the kickboxing bouts, the showcases of classic Japanese veteran talent, Tokoro, Takeya, Hada, those were all great. Talkoff versus Matthews, Motoya versus Efrain, a lot of good, solid fights in the middle. And then the tournament was just fantastic. It went as well as could possibly have been hoped for Rizin. And I'm excited to see the next leg of it on New Year's Eve. So that wraps it up. I'm not going to make this too long a show because I got to get the hell to bed. It is 3:40 in the morning on a Monday night. That is abominable. So I'm going to bed. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter at TheZaneSimon. Give this video a like. That's a thumbs up. Subscribe to MMANation.com. That's DOTCOM. And stay tuned to Bloody Elbow for all our other videos. I might even do another one of these for the New Year's Eve show. We will see. I'm not promising anything. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good night.